Hey guys, happy Saturday. This is Cheryl from Eat, Pray, Get Fit. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about communication and the empty nester and how do you stay in touch with your kids after they've left. I know for myself it was really difficult, and unfortunately, I will admit I was a helicopter parent as well. That is a whole nother story that we could go into, but today I'm just going to kind of talk about the communication side of it. When your kids leave, you've been in constant contact with them every day. You see them in the morning, you see them when they get home from school. You might be talking to them throughout the day, and now they're gone. And who do you talk to, or how often do you talk to them? And with this day and age of social media, we have so much connection with them that how much is too much. We might be friends with them on Facebook, we might follow them on Instagram. We've got the texting and the phone calls. We have Skyping, we have Zoom calls, we have all these different ways that we can communicate with our kids. But where do you break that? Where do you draw that line? So what I have found with my kids is that we want to talk to them every day, but they may not want to talk to us. And so give yourself the count of 10 before you pick up that phone to give them a call. When you send them a text, don't make them feel guilty about being gone. Let them know that you're doing okay, but don't let them know if you're really sad and you're struggling with things. They don't want to feel guilty that they've left. They may be just off to college, and you may see them at some point when they return during break. But if they're off in their own, living space, or they're married, you don't want them to feel guilty because you're depressed and, oh, I'm so sad and I can't go into your room without crying. You don't want to do that to them. But let them know that you're there for them also. But set those boundaries with each other. Another thing to do as far as visiting, if they're close enough to come home on the weekend or come home during the week even, or you vice versa can go see them, make sure you set some boundaries and, say, you give each other 24-hour notice and say, hey, I'd love to come visit. Are you free? Don't just drop in. They may be doing things that, they may not want you to see. You may be doing things that you don't want them to see. And with our kids, both our boys have house keys because there's times that they need to get into the house if we're not home, or if there's something that we need them to do. We've allowed them to have a house key, but they have their boundaries. They know not to come over without asking or without letting us know. So that's just a matter of respect. And if you are that helicopter parent, or that I just read it today, they called it a cockpit parent, where you have been their co-pilot all their life, be prepared that their college advisors or their bosses or whoever, they're not going to want you to call them and talk to them, and they won't give you information. Your kids are adults now, so remember that you, if you were in your child's life during their high school or during their school days, it's time now to step back and not be calling their boss and saying, hey, how's Johnny doing? Or, don't be checking in with people that they work with or people that they're going to school with, because you will cause a great rift in your relationship with your child if you do that. I know this firsthand, so take it from me. You need to let that go and let them be on their own and let them learn. Let them spread their wings. You have given them great foundation. You've given them a great base on how to become an adult. So let them be that way. And just remember that the biggest gift that you can give yourself, if you're, once you're an empty nester, is to just let them be and know that they'll come to you when they need it. And something else that I have learned, that, like I said, to give yourself that count to 10 before you call them. If you call them first and they're in the middle of a date, or they're in the middle of the library, or they're somewhere where they can't talk, you're going to get a very short answer, or a very obtruse kind of communication with them, and you're going to feel bad. And they may not mean it, but it right there, your heart gets kind of broken because you feel like they didn't want to talk to you. But it may just be that it's not a good time. So let them call you, and eventually they'll get to the point where they'll say, hey, Mom, I haven't heard from you in a while. How come you don't call me anymore? And that's cool. That's where you want it to be. So just my advice is just a couple of things. Give them space. Count to 10 when you're getting ready to call them. And for heaven's sakes, don't text them with, are you eating, and are you safe, and you're not out drinking every night, are you? Let them be adults. Trust what you have done for their foundation, and let them go. This has been a challenge. I will admit that right at the first, that it's been a challenge for me because I was very involved with both my kids, and it was hard to let go. It's still hard to let go. I've got almost a 30-year-old and a 25-year-old, and it's still very difficult to not want to be a part of their lives. You've had their friends in your household forever. You've cooked for big groups of their friends, and you still want to be in their lives, but their friends might not want you being in their lives anymore. And that's another thing, is be very careful about making friend requests with their friends, or doing things like that, because your kid will find out about it and they'll say, Mom, why are you doing that? Why are you friending my friends? And so respect them, respect your boundaries. You're the parent, they're the child. Eventually, this will all turn around and they will become your friend as well when they're adults. So that's kind of my advice in a nutshell. I'll be going into more depth of that in my blog, so stay tuned for that. I hope you're having a fantastic Saturday, and have a good day. Talk to you soon.